this is Elizabeth and Elton Brewington with Discover Brightside, where we discover new authors, new people, and all to help you survive this great AI age that we're living in, where everything is changing. Now, if you remember, we had America, where we celebrated 249 years of this great country that I love so much. And we have an acclaimed historian, and he's a storyteller. He was named the top 50 historians of the last 50 years in Monmouth country. He is a revolutionary. He talks about war to life, untold stories, vivid detail, vivid imagination. He's not written one book, but more than 10, I think. And
Hundreds.
I just love the titles. I mean, Presidents in the Rain Without an Umbrella, The Deadly Divide, The Long Walk, and then Embracing Life's Journey, which is both a grown up book as well as a children's book. So here we are with him. And as we get into 250 years of celebrating this great country, welcome, John. Welcome to our
Hey,
studio.
I appreciate that. You know what? I love talking to people over the internet like this on Zoom. It's wonderful. But why don't you guys come over here? My place. I have chickens. I have parrots. I have bunnies.
Whoa.
I have bunnies and rabbits are the same. I have a cat. I have a dog. I have a girlfriend. And I used to have, this is true, uh, elephants, giraffes, zebras, ostriches. I grew up with African animals. So I love animals.
That's in Monmouth County, New Jersey?
No, I actually grew up in Florida.
Okay.
And my grandfather had a big tourist attraction down there called Africa USA.
Okay.
And I grew up with, ostriches. I mean, I used to play with little ostriches as
Wow.
pets. I would eat ostrich eggs for breakfast.
Wow.
You get about 20 regular eggs out of one ostrich egg. So it's
That's
kind of
probably what made you such a curious mind. Have such a curious mind from eating ostrich eggs.
I don't have a serious mind whatsoever. I have a somewhat disciplined mind. And I
Okay.
must say, you talked about AI. Do you use AI?
Yes, we do. We do a lot of AI.
You
Yeah,
know, I got to tell you, you talk to a lot of authors too, don't you?
we do.
It is so mixed, isn't it, in terms of whether you like it or you don't like it. I just think it's another tool that we can all use. We got to get used to it because it is the wave of the future. It could save us, it could kill us. Like anything else, like when we went from horses and buggy to automobiles, everybody was saying, "Oh, they're going to kill us. It's going to be horrible." I look at when I write a book, I used to Google. Well, I used to go to the library before I ever had Google or anything like that. And I'd do a lot of research and I'd take a lot of notes and I'd type a lot of stuff and then I'd rearrange it and then I'd type it again. It was horrible. Then I started doing Google. So I'd find stuff and I'd copy and paste it and then I'd try to rewrite it so I wouldn't get, charged with plagiarism or anything like that. And now I use AI for a lot of different things to help me think about things in different ways. And how does this sentence sound? And should I change that? Should I change this? And all it is a tool, isn't it? It's something we can use to help us tell a better story. And as a storyteller, that's crucial to me. So even images that are created through AI are marvelous. And people who say, well, I don't like all your AI images and all that. But if I can find a way to show you what something looked like back in 1775, and there's no picture of anything like that, just a bunch of old paintings and things, and I can make it look a little more realistic so that you feel like you're there, that's what storytellers do. And AI is a remarkable tool for people like me. But
Yeah.
you're the questioners. What?
No,
Well, you started out
I,
with such a role. We said, let him go, man.
Oh, and speaking of roll,
yeah.
there's rock and roll too. God bless rock and roll.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
So,
yeah.
so AI is programmed in the past. Since you're a historian, it's just recorded data. It's like when we had a tape recorder and we'd play a tape recorder and it played
Sure.
back to us.
Exactly.
So we as human beings have to stay ahead of AI because we have to use our own brains, our own imagination, because that's where the new revolution comes in. Now we can, it makes us 10 feet tall. It empowers us to be smarter than we ever were. I love it because it helps me with my work every day. So embrace it, but always stay ahead of it. Don't let it
Sure, absolutely.
to a veggie.
And you certainly, some people have claimed that, somehow it's going to take jobs away from writers and jobs away. You know what? That's just ridiculous. Every new technology that has ever come our way, even the technology from the 18th century, people have been afraid of. They haven't been able to adjust to it. And if you can't adjust to change, even emotional change, which we all have to adjust to, and you have to be creative in how you use the changes that are occurring in your life. I love change. And if you're an author or someone who's a painter or someone that does music or a creative person at all, you have to embrace change because
Yes,
if you don't, you'll just be stagnant and you'll be boring.
that's
And, you know, you know
Uh,
the story.
let's do this because I'm getting the energy of an amazing moments here. And I have to share with our audience. We have the pleasure and the good pleasure of us talking with Mr. John Snyder. And it seems to present a wealth of information and
yes.
knowledge, a true historian.
I'm a genius.
Yeah, I see that.
I see
I
that.
get that. I get
I
that.
just
You
love your
really are. And you say that modestly, but I'm looking at the
Well,
wealth of books that
you
you've written.
have to be, you have to be smart. You have
Yeah,
to be creative.
yeah.
Einstein says creativity and imagination is more important than knowledge. It's one
Right.
thing to acquire knowledge about the universe, and I love Einstein. Don't get me started. But
Mm.
but you can be knowledgeable about things. But wisdom, to have the kind of wisdom you need to write something, to create something, or make decisions about your own life, you have to have some imagination. You have to be able to bounce things around in your mind. That's why when you said to me today, you said, "Would you like to see your questions in advance?" Well, no. Why would I? I'm not gonna. I'd be more nervous trying
I
to
can
prepare the
handle it.
right answer
I can
than
Well,
handle
have
it.
any
let's
kind of
let's go
questions.
to the book Embracing Life's Journey. And I love the fact that you have an adult and children's because we have a book club and it's second to none. We have just
Oh, how
the
cool!
best group of authors you could ever imagine. And so we decided to have, we called it grown up because when you say adult, it crawls on the internet. So we said grown up books and children's books. So you have both. So I was quite
I have
fascinated with
everything. I
that.
just did a. Wait a minute. I
So,
know you
Yeah.
probably don't
So tell me
want.
about
so when you
embracing
wrote
life's
the book,
journey.
Wait a minute.
what
Go ahead.
was
I'm sorry. Go ahead. The what?
Yeah.
when you wrote the book? What were you? What came to your mind, or what were you driven by?
This book is it
Yeah.
Yes.
backwards? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, embracing life's journey. My dog is barking at other people. When I wrote the book, I haven't always been an author. I've been everything, but I
Okay.
never. I've always written, and I worked for AT&T. I was in marketing and all that, and I'd write stuff all the time, write speeches and annual reports, and you name it, I wrote it. But I always wanted to write a book about just what I think I know. And so my daughter, when she was growing up, we had a very close relationship. Her name was Jeannie, and I dedicate this book to her.
Mhm.
These were all the things I used to tell her, all of the kind of advice that I used to give her. And we'd have a discussion usually. I wouldn't just preach and say, this is how you got to do it. And one of the most important things I ever told her, which is in the book, is the philosophy that I invented myself.
Mhm.
It's patented, copyrighted, don't steal it.
Mhm.
It's called moving through things. And you learn when you get older. You kids are young puppies, but when you get as old as I am, I'm 76, you begin to realize that everything you were worried about last year or the year before that or 10 years ago is gone. You've
That's
moved
true.
on to other things. And I used to tell my daughter when she was in school, usually about a boy or something, I said, you want to kill yourself now, don't you? I get it. Well, I'm going to wait a week or two, and then I'm going to ask you again how you feel and see if you've moved through this. You
Hmm.
learn with experience.
Yeah.
Experience tells you that you do get over things.
Sure.
And I'd
Sure.
say, you just have faith that sometimes you got to close your eyes, take a nap, distract yourself for a little while, and eventually you get to the other side. But she was so taken by that philosophy that it has guided her. She had a tattoo on her arm, which I when she said, "Dad, I got a tattoo," I said, "No." She said, "Well, it's a tattoo of move through it." Oh, that's different.
Uh,
It was a
okay.
little circle with an arrow going through to
Okay.
remind her
All
to
right.
move through life. So this book was all about, things that I used to profess to her and
Okay.
some new things
Uh-huh.
uh, that I think everybody, and I've done some presentations on this, and some people have said, well, John, this is stuff we already know, but not everything you already
Yeah,
know.
that's
That's
true.
amazing,
Sometimes
though.
you got to take some good stuff works and kind of hash it and let people see it in a different way. And
Yep.
sometimes it can be more meaningful when it comes
Sure.
from somebody else.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the children's book, which I'll put up here too, is it's backwards. I deliberately wrote this backwards. Is what do you call it? Accompanies the book for the adults so that they have about this too. So moving through it is in here for like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, and it's beautiful color images and easy to
Yeah.
read and stuff like that. I'm not sure whether it's warping kids' minds or not, but I hope not.
Well, the other books that I thought were interesting because we used to live in New Jersey and I used to work in Parsippany
How
for all
dare
those
you admit that you
big
used to live here?
pharmaceutical companies. And back in the day, and I would sit in the train and pass these railway station stops. And here I'm reading your book titles, and I'm like, oh my God, there's some life over there on those. Because every time you're on a train and you pass all these stations, you say, I wonder what those people are like living in that area. So here you have a book, The History Journey Across Raritan Bay,
History of
and
Highlands.
Yeah,
Sandy
yeah.
Hook. And these are names that I'm very familiar with because I passed those stations. So tell me about these books about New Jersey.
Okay.
Well, a lot of them are historical. I never thought I'd be a historian. In fact, I woke up one day and somebody said, "You're a historian." I said, "Okay, well then I'll
Okay.
do that
Okay.
for a while."
I'm a
It's
historian.
like being married. How long have you been married now?
22 years.
All right,
20.
so 22 years. At some point, you must have woken up and said, "Holy good gosh, did we get married?"
Yeah.
We say that all the time.
Exactly. I said to my girlfriend, I said, "Wait a minute, did you spend the night last night? Are we living together now?" So,
Yeah.
yeah, women do that to you. I
Sure.
also wrote a book called Putting Love Above, which is all about how to fix relationships and how to be in a relationship, especially for
Okay.
older people. And I called I dedicated the book to all my old girlfriends that actually, because I've been friends with all of them. I've never really broken up except one girl. Oh, she was so bad. But I said to this one girl, I said, I wanted to let you know that I dedicated one of my books to you. And she said, oh, how marvelous. She thought it was a history book or something. And she says, what's it about? I said, it's about being in effective relationships. And there was a pause. And then she started laughing uncontrollably. And she says, John, you don't know how to do that. What are you talking about? I said, no, but I know all the things not to do.
To
And that's
do
what I
right
wrote about. So
because of the relationship.
I've written a lot about New Jersey. New Jersey is really, other than places like Boston and Massachusetts, New Jersey is a remarkable place. It's in the tri state area. I can see New York City from my bedroom window across Raritan Bay. It is the center of the universe with regard to some of the things that happened during the Revolutionary War. And while you look at the Revolutionary War in terms of the battles in Washington and all these decisive things that happened, there was a war on the water that a lot of people didn't know about. So I wrote a couple of books. One is a historical journey across Raritan Bay, which you can get at Amazon.com. But another was Fighting for Freedom on Raritan Bay, which is all about the Revolutionary War.
Mhm.
I've done a lot on New Jersey because New Jersey is a fascinating place.
Mhm.
North Carolina is a fascinating
Yes,
place.
it is.
A
It
lot
is.
of history, a lot
A
of things
lot
Yeah,
of
a
happened
lot
there.
of
history.
Some
history.
Revolutionary War stuff
Yeah.
Mhm.
happened there as well.
Mhm.
So when you start looking into all of the local places where people live, I love to go into little towns in Pennsylvania or Virginia or and just stop the car, walk around the town and explore things because that's how I became an author. That's how I became a musician, an artist, or that's why I'm on this program because I'm curious. I'm curious to see what will happen when I lift up that rock. I'm serious about wanting to talk to you to see what I get out of this.
Mhm.
I'm serious about wanting to go outside to hold my chickens in my arms and tell them how much I love them. I do love my chickens, by
No.
the way. Don't let that. This isn't being recorded, is it?
It
Oh,
is.
Yeah, but
okay, it's okay.
but they give you eggs though, right?
Oh, the eggs are
We've
the
always
eggs
wanted to have
are wonderful.
chickens.
What's
Mhm.
We've
that?
always wanted. We've always wanted to have
You got
chickens.
to get chickens.
Yeah,
Chickens
it's
are
just
so
with the
loving.
when.
My
Yeah.
guys are about. They're all hens. I've had a couple of die from fox injuries and stuff like that, but I have it all fenced in so the hawks can't get them and all that kind of stuff. But when they were little babies, I'd bring them in and put them in my chest and rock on the rocking chair and watch
Oh,
TV and they'd
that's
fall
so
asleep.
Oh,
sweet.
that's
And
cute.
I
That
do it now.
Yeah,
They're big. They're big
that's
hens.
okay. It's
I
okay.
bring them in. My mother, who passed away last year, and I was her caretaker for 7 years, and I wrote a book about it called "Reaching the End of Life." She she was sitting outside with a chicken on her lap, and it laid an egg in her lap.
Oh wow! How about that?
That's right.
well,
Can
his
your wife do
Good a
that?
place as any. Good a
you know
place as any.
his mother passed away last.
Last
We
year.
were
Oh, I'm
looking
sorry.
after her
Uh,
for
I
some
should
time.
send you the copy of my
Yeah,
book.
and it's a great experience looking
uh,
It
after an
is.
elderly person. But
yes.
It is.
a few weeks before she passed away, a woman came into the in a rehab place with dogs. She had a cat. She was like this,
Oh, how nice.
healing. And his mother put all of the animals on her lap and was
Oh, how
playing
nice.
around
I
with
love
them, and
animals.
it was just a moment of joy.
Now I
But
want
now
to before you go on.
let's get
I know you want
from
to answer.
relationships and life to your political pursuits. And I see you've written some powerful books:
Yeah, I'm telling
The
you.
Deadly Divide, The
It's
Presidents in
amazing.
the Rain. So tell us, what made you want to write such political books?
Well, it's not really. It's kind of a comedy. I
Uh,
like humor. I was actually I've been everything. There's nothing I haven't been. I was a comedian years ago. I opened for
that's
Eddie
it.
Murphy at a club in Washington, D.C.
Uh,
And so everything that I write about, I've always loved science fiction. This is my science fiction book, a hardcover book
Iron and Coil.
called The Meridian Coil. I'm
Brilliant.
not sure anybody will understand it, but I got a kick out of it. I wrote it for my own enjoyment. So to answer your question, I I sometimes just look at things like I'm the kid that said, "Why is the sky blue?"
Okay.
And they'd say, "Well,
And you
because it's just
and you
blue."
still
Well,
still
why?
looking you're still looking for the answer.
I'm still looking for the answers, and this time I track it down. Now, I happen to know that you're Indian, correct?
Yeah.
So I wrote a book about Indians.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
Oh
really?
no,
Oh,
no,
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 the
no,
other
not
Indian,
not from the country for
that's a
writing
Native
it.
the
American.
This is
Native
called the
Americans.
Long Walk of the Lenape, and they
Yeah.
were local back to New Jersey. They
Uh-huh.
were local Native Americans who lived here, so I did a very respectful view. And I have a Facebook group as well called Remember the Lenape, and I just started a couple of days ago. I've got a few hundred people already that have joined because there's so much interest in our American
Yeah.
Native heritage. And then the comedy stuff, like the presidents in the rain. I just said, there's an example of where I used AI. Are we almost out of time? There's an example where I've used AI and said, draw me a picture of every president in the rain. I just want to see what they look like. Make their hair go messed up, and there's rain all around them and stuff. I want to start with Washington, go all the way up to Trump. I especially want to do Trump all wet because he is already. No, I don't. I'm just kidding. All the politicians I don't like, but so I said I'll do that, and then I'll talk about as I talk about each president. So it's kind of a history. What was their rainy day moment in the White House? What was it? The storm clouds in their particular era. What did they have to contend with? Because you never see presidents or the queen or the king soaking wet in the rain. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun? So AI wasn't perfect. So I'd say that really doesn't look like Gerald Ford. So I call it a her.
Yeah.
Actually, my AI is called Sage Hartwell, but that's a whole other story. So I said, that's not good. You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. So every picture in that book, it took me maybe 4, 5, 6 times to get it right. And I do that a lot with AI as well. That was a humorous book, kind of sort of, but it also informed you about the presidents because it gave
Right.
you a little background on each of them while being entertaining. I'm working on a new book called Who Am I, which are 100 different famous people. Some are living, some are dead, some are fictional, like Superman or Statue of Liberty. And one page on the left side, you hear the voice, you read the voice of the person, but you don't know who it is. At the end, you have to guess, who is this person? Is it Mickey Mouse? Is it Albert Einstein? Is it Richard Nixon? You turn the page and it tells you who it was. Did you get it right? And then it explains who that person was all about. And
Wow.
that's my book that I'm working on now, but that's only one of many.
It sounds incredible.
Amazing.
Well,
Amazing.
you're watching Discover Brightside. We're here with it's just an amazing genius type
Oh,
historian
please. How true.
relationship books. Get the books. And we are starting a review club. So my dear reviewers, go ahead and write some great reviews for these
Oh, how
books.
nice.
And you are watching Discover Brightside. And thank you for watching, Elton and Elizabeth.
Mhm.
And I will stop.